So this video's been a long time coming. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it or when, but I feel that in honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, it is time to get my story out there.
Manipulation is a big one. When a narcissist is trying to isolate you, they'll never go to the people directly. They sort of puppeteer people through playing on their emotions.
Hey, beautiful people, how you all doing today? It's your girl Maria Davids, and thank you all so much for tuning in today's video. In today's video, we're going to talk about two things. We're talking about domestic violence. This woman came to share little of her story because she's going to come back for part two. But anyway, this is just the beginning of her sharing her story, and I decided to bring it up for you all to watch today for people that might find this very helpful. And also, the second video we're talking about is how to recognize manipulation conversation when you're having with men that you want to date, or even be with men generally, especially men that have narcissist traits. You see, when it comes to domestic violence in a relationship, seriously, there was the other time we this woman that came here to share a story, and she was disabled because of the medication she was using for a depression, right? And all this was because of a man, all this was because of a husband. These are what men can do to you when you're stuck, or when you feel like you're stuck in that relationship, when you don't want to get out. You're seeing the red flag, you're seeing things are not right, you're seeing him do some. In fact, some people tell you, oh, it's just a normal slap. He doesn't do more than slapping me. Someone that can slap you and move on and still continue living on his life can unalive you. I'll save the conversation at the end of the video. Let me roll this first video for you all to watch to the end, and then we'll talk about it. But then while you're watching, kindly share your thoughts down in the comment section, respectfully as always.
So this video's been a long time coming. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it or when, but I feel that in honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, it is time to get my story out there. My name is Heather, and I am a survivor of a very extreme case of domestic violence. I was married for over 11 years to my husband, who ultimately held me down and poured chemicals into my eyes. And this is the result of that. I've had 5 reconstructive surgeries. When it first happened, my eyelids were completely melted off. I've only seen one picture of that, and I don't care to ever see it again. It was absolutely horrifying. And in the moment, I believed I was going to die. My husband held me down on the floor, and he poured chemicals into my eyes. And as I laid there screaming, all that he could tell me was, if I wasn't quiet, that he would pour it down my throat, and it would burn my insides, and I would suffocate and die. So I stopped screaming, and I was as quiet as I could be because I didn't want to die. And so I started to pray. And I leaned into God, and I prayed, and I prayed, and it was eventually over. He took me to the hospital. I still didn't come forward at that time that he had done it to me. I was too afraid because of what he had just done to me, what he could potentially do to me further, and worse, what he could do to my children. I have first and foremost always wanted to be the best mom that I could be. And when I knew that things weren't right, it was too late, and I was too afraid to get out. I didn't know how to ask for help, and he was very crafty. And I was afraid that he would try to take my children, and that he would hurt them, or that he would hurt them anyways just to hurt me. Now, I am living safely with my children. I never have to deal with that man again. He ultimately killed himself. When I was taken from my home, my children were also taken at the same time. He tried to flee the country. They wouldn't let him. But I believe that that was God. God knew that I'd been through enough. God knew that all the people that he had hurt had been through enough. It's not easy. I'm navigating being a single mother living with disabilities. When this initially happened, I was fully blind. I have, by the grace of God, regained vision in my left eye. I'm not sure that I'll ever be able to see out of my right eye again, but I pray for it. But even if I never would have regained my eyesight, I'm still grateful to be alive. I survived things that nobody should. Besides the physical wounds and scars that you see, the mental scars are so much more. Chronic PTSD from an almost year and a half torturous ordeal. There's major trigger warnings throughout my story. I'll have to continue this in a part 2 and a part 3. But my main purpose for this is because I want to help you. If there's somebody out there that doesn't feel like they're safe enough to get out, that doesn't feel like that they can get out, I'm here to tell you that you can. And this isn't to preach at anyone or to tell you what to believe, but God's listening and God is watching, and there is purpose to the pain and there is purpose to the suffering, because I now feel that I have a level of compassion that I never had before. And I truly just want the world to be a better place. So if I can just reach one person with this, I would like to. Stay tuned for part 2.
It's so sad, but then I'm so happy she's alive. She could have been alive even though she has lost her right eye. But then, God, you all, he poured the chemicals into her eyes and told her he threatened her, if you don't stop shouting or if you continue shouting, I am going to pour it down your throat. My mom was a survivor of domestic violence with my dad. He almost took her life right before she finally got out. She has been happily married for 21 years now, and my dad is dead from a disease. My mom was a domestic violence for 10 years, and she had absolutely no idea. When he nearly strangled her is when she finally told me, and I got her out of there. I am a survivor of 13 years of domestic violence. I'm proud of you. We made it alive. We are stronger because of it. 8 years ago this November, I left my abuser. I never thought I would come out alive. I never thought anyone would care. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for shining your light. I was married to a very abusive man years ago. It's a long story, but God helped me out too. I am so very sorry for what he did to you and what you've been through. You're brave and strong. Going to the comment section, there are a lot of comments, over 20, almost 20,000 comments as I'm making this video right now. Almost 20,000 comments are there, and you all, a lot of women were coming out to talk about domestic violence, abusive partner. I know why I'm coming out to read those comments, because some people will come out to say, yeah, it is not only women that get abused. You women act like it's only you people that get abused. Even men get abused as well. There are domestic men also face domestic violence. Out of 19,000 and something comments, I don't think if I want to sit down and actually read those 19,000 comments and look at people that are coming out to say they had a mom that was where with domestic violence, they have sisters, they have friend, or they themselves experience domestic violence. And let me compare it to a man coming to also say I'm also a victim of a domestic violence. The percentage is going to be 99 to 1. and I'm not capping. This is just to say that these things happen to women all the time, everywhere, anywhere you are. So far, you are in a relationship with a man, there's possibility that you can be abused. Is it that you're abused physically or you're abused mentally? I talked about this woman that came to share. I don't know if anybody remembered. We talked about, she came to share her story. I've forgotten her name. And she got disabled because due to medication that she was taking. And it was because she was, abused mentally by her husband. And I really can't wait for her to share a complete story. I have already posted her name. You can go check her on TikTok so you can follow up as well. But even at that, I'm still going to bring her part two or part three, or when she continues her story, we'll come back and talk about it for people that are not on TikTok. It is so scary being in a relationship with a man. It is because you don't know what you're gonna expect, you don't know what you're expecting. And the thing is that a man that would physically abuse you will not start from the first date. A man that beats you, a woman beater, sorry, is not going to start on the first date. It's not going to start the second date, or maybe a 1 month, or even before you guys get married. It's not going to touch you. It's not going to beat you. It's not going to have anything to do with him being violent. It's not going to show you who he is until you're married to him or until you have a child for him. Then you start seeing the kind of person he is. He will not be able to hide his character anymore. So if you start a relationship with a man and he's all love bombing, he's perfect, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what to expect. You don't know the kind of character it would bring out later on in the relationship. Let me roll out the second video for you all to watch, talking about manipulation tactics to watch out for in conversation, especially with a man. I'll roll this video for you all to watch the ending. I'll share my thoughts at the end of the video.
Here are some manipulative tactics that you can look for in conversations, and I am not telling you this to make you a better opponent in conversation. I'm telling you this so you know what to look for and you know when to walk away. The number one and like the least talked about is the word salad, word vomit. They're gonna throw out so much disjointed information, things that don't make any sense, that don't typically align, that have a lot of inconsistencies, so that you don't know what it is you are even talking about anymore. So that you can't find your grounding. They're hoping that you're going to pick and choose one of the random pieces of information that they're throwing at you, and then they can shift the conversation to something that is unrelated to what you started with. It is very productive for people with narcissistic behaviors to do this because they're throwing so much information at you that it gives them an opportunity to sneak in devaluing, to sneak in triangulation, and they can do it so quickly within the word salad of information that you're not able to catch it in that moment. You're just trying to catch your breath and figure out what it is that's going on. These are the things, the details that you look back on later and you're like, oh my God, why did I not catch that? It's also an effective tool for them to like haunt you after. They want to sneak in blame, sneak in betrayal, so that you can't confront them about it in the moment. And it leaves you questioning yourself, makes you perpetuate the self-doubt that they want to put on you even when they're not around. Projection. The misconception about projection is that it's always like a characteristic, like you're controlling, you're crazy. But it can also sound like an assumption. They could say things like, I have nothing to hide, or like, I don't know why you're questioning me, I'm done with this interrogation. Especially when you are just trying to understand them. You're asking questions to figure out what's actually going on. They don't want you to know what's actually going on, so they'll project those thoughts and feelings onto you. This is a big one. They will mock you. Once a narcissist knows that you're on to them, they start to drop their mask more and more. Mockery starts to happen when they realize that they can no longer manipulate you. Now they have to intimidate you. This can sound like, you raise a vulnerability with them. You're making me feel defeated. You're being cruel. You're being mean. Their response to that through mockery would be something like, oh, I'm so cruel to you. oh, I'm so mean. I defeated you. It's like one of the last things that they'll use because it's the most obvious. Triangulation is a big one. When a narcissist is trying to isolate you, they'll never go to the people directly. They sort of puppeteer people through playing on their emotions. What's most likely to happen is that they will craft an image for you in order for them to get you to react and now turn to those people so that they can continue to deflect accountability. Triangulation crafts an image that there is like a group of people ganging up on you. It might not be entirely untrue, the events and the words that were said, but it's the way that they craft what was said and what was done. Through triangulation, they might say something like, oh, I was hanging out with our mutual friends the other day, and they just kept mentioning how bad it was and how much it sucks that we can't hang out with you anymore because of all of this, because of everything that's going on. They create an image that everyone agrees with them and that you are to blame. Narcissists, their number one goal is to protect their self-image. They do not want you talking to people about what they're doing to you. Their biggest fear is that they might be found out and therefore confronted and therefore met with the shame they are trying so hard to outrun. And of course, the final boss, the gaslight. This is how they downplay all of the information that they gave you before. During the love bomb, I've never spoken to anybody this way. I've never met anyone like you. And then when the devaluation process begins, it's, I don't know where this is coming from. It just all seems a little bit complicated and dramatic. That will increase until you're crazy, until you're weird, until it's, we didn't even know each other that long. They want to decrease your sense of value and your sense of impact in their life. What they're trying to do is shatter your self-worth to increase self-doubt so that you will think you're the problem and so that you will cater to them, their self-image, and their needs entirely. What you have to remember about narcissistic personalities is that they're not entirely unfeeling. They still feel hurt, but they feel hurt out of why am I not loved? This increases shame. So they only ever see people as the solution or the shame. During the love bomb period, they really do feel those feelings for you because they've idealized you. They can see the way that you pity them, you give them endless empathy and understanding. In that regard, you're the solution to their shame. The minute that you raise issue or you need things, it increases their shame about the fact that they cannot give those things to you. Now they have to reckon with their behaviors and their failures, and they're unable to face those issues. It is so overwhelming to them and their ego and their deep insecurity that they will do every single thing in their power to deflect and to put it onto you. The really scary thing, and another thing to look out for when it comes to narcissists, is the moments when they drop their mask. This can look like one of two ways. For the narcissist, they'll either become like a vacant shell. They will become entirely withdrawn. This normally occurs right before the moment of discard. In other moments when a narcissist drops their mask, it typically occurs after they know that you've found them out. At that moment, they're no longer trying to manipulate you. They're no longer trying to pull at your empathy. There is a distinct and frankly chilling change in tone where they are no longer trying to convince you of anything. What they're trying to do is intimidate you. What they're doing is telling you what they think of you and what they're going to do to you now. The really sad thing, and this is not to elicit any empathy, okay, because you have to stop giving them empathy. But the sad thing about a narcissistic person is that they see all of life as a competition. Any issues that's raised, any blame that's placed on them is an infringement on their ability to move forward or increase their self-image. The narcissistic person has a deeply fragile ego, and so they're constantly in a pursuit of fulfillment. They need someone who can fill them up enough so they can ignore their shame, and that's impossible. Yet, it is their number one goal. In their desperate pursuit to deny their shame, they spend the rest of their lives creating these chaotic experiences for themselves and everybody else. They have to create an environment where they are the victim, and there's something that they have to prevail against in order to feel okay with themselves.
One thing men are good at 100%, they are good at these things, is called manipulation. They can manipulate you to the extent that you're going to question yourself. And when things start even changing and everything, you will think that you're the one at fault. You will not even know you're being manipulated. As a woman that wants to still be in a relationship with a man, that wants to be in a relationship with a man, you need to understand this manipulation tactics. You need to understand, you need to know that these men are big manipulators. You don't need to be in denial or lie to yourself or try to, make excuses for whatever is happening. No, you need to know that they are good at manipulation. Try to know your partner, like, okay, this is what it does to manipulate me to do this and this and this. So when those manipulation things, when you start doing them, you're like, you're aware of the manipulation tactics, so it doesn't trigger you, it doesn't do anything to you. You just laugh over it, or you might even point it at and be like, I know you're manipulating me. What you want, you're not gonna get. It usually takes some women a very long time to know that their partner are manipulating them. In fact, some people are seeing the manipulation, but then they are always lying to themselves and being in denial and be like, no, I don't think he's doing that. I just feel like I'm the fault. So they just don't want to believe that their partner are manipulating them. Trust me, the moment you let him know that you are being manipulated when he's trying to manipulate you, that is when he's going to stop manipulating you, because he knows that you already know. Or he might want to change. In fact, some of them don't even go as far as changing their manipulative tactics. They still want to stick to that manipulation like that. But the moment they know that you know, or you're aware that you're being manipulated and you're not reacting to it anymore, it's not working for you anymore, they are going, that is when they stop manipulating you and just switch to something else. Okay, my people, what is your take on today's video? We talked about two things: domestic violence and also manipulation tactics to recognize in a conversation that you're having with your partner or just generally with men. Kindly share your thoughts down in the comment section respectfully. When it comes to domestic violence, I feel like a lot of the women that are experiencing this thing, most of them are scared to leave. They're scared they might get unalive when they want to leave, or they're scared to leave their kids. A lot of things might be holding them back, but then one thing I would say is, it's better you live there alive than you live there unalive, because if you want to stay or you're still there for those kids, what if he unalives you in the house, and those kids that you're afraid you don't want to leave, you eventually leave them forever. But then if you pick your bags or you just run away or something, just your life, you might come back and come and take care of your kids later on when you've bounced back. At least you know that you left there alive, right? I feel like most people that experience domestic violence, most of them don't come out of it alive. Most women don't come out of it alive. Just you can see the comment section. People are like, I'm glad you're out of it alive, because most women don't come out of domestic violence alive. Most of them are always getting unalive, and these men get away with it because they can just come and be like, oh, she was sick, oh, she slept, she did not wake up, oh, she fell down. They'll just look for something else. And most women that are facing domestic violence are afraid to share it out. They're afraid to even tell somebody very close to them that, oh, my partner beats me. They're afraid to talk about it to people. So it's something that they are hiding that people do not even know about. So when they get on alive in the process, the man always gets away with it because nobody knew he was beating her, and he can just be like, what happened? Your wife is dead. What happened? Oh, she slept, she didn't wake up, she has been complaining of tummy ache. It was just, I saw a video of a man that beats his wife. He always beats his wife till she got miscarriage. She was pregnant till she got miscarriage. Is cheating on her. She's aware of the girlfriend. He beats her blue black. Every time he has issues with his girlfriend, he comes home to beat his wife. And so she had miscarriage, she lost the baby. And those things can also cause some damage in your body, because I don't know the kind of beating you want to beat your wife that'll make her lose the child. And one of the family member was saying that the husband has beat his wife, or yeah, the sister, yeah, in front of the father. So the the wife's family are aware that the husband beats her. Nobody is helping. So things like that are very discouraging for women that are facing domestic violence. I just hope I just hope they get out of it alive and they can be bold enough to just leave such relationship, because sometimes I know it might not be easy for them, maybe especially women that are not getting support from very close family members that they were expecting to get support from. What is your take on today's video? Thank you so much for tuning in today's video. Check out Maria Davids, and don't forget to like and share and subscribe, and let me know your thought down in the comment section respectfully as always, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.